Well, all right, folks.
Squad's over.
No.
Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Cup Chasers podcast. Manchester City have swept aside Southampton, as we all figured they would.
Almost like they're a Division 2 team, you know what I'm saying? That's almost like they...
And if you're fearful or quite certain that Southampton will be playing in the championship next season, get the likes up. Go and subscribe to the channel. Get the notification bell on. We thought that City might have an eye on Europe on Tuesday, and honestly, I think they did, and they still destroyed.
First 5 minutes, it looked like Southampton had a fighting chance, and then City did what? Southampton turned it over, and City went 4 passes, and Jack missed pretty much a center.
Oh yeah.
And then at that point, it was game over. The City was like, okay, we're in it now. Let's go.
I want to say one of the most dirtiest goals of the whole season comes off of something Lewis says never happens.
Is that the goal we're going to start with?
And that's a Jack Grealish in the air cross.
But here's the thing. It never happens because De Bruyne actually, remember, the goal before that, De Bruyne crossed from there. De Bruyne crossed from that, because I sent that to the chat. I'm like, De Bruyne had to show him what to do. And then after he showed him what to do, he dinked it over him. And I'm like, dude, you could have been doing that all year.
All season.
Yeah. Oh.
I was, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, Lewis is going to love this.
Say something about that, yeah.
It's absolutely.
Sure.
Because Grealish, and I don't know if you saw this, because the commentators were talking about this. De Bruyne could have had 5 assists in that game. Easily. Could have had 5 assists. Grealish blew one where he scored on the goal he blew, but he blew one that he should have. The way he finished it when he scored was how he was supposed to finish it when he received the pass the first time.
Yeah.
And then Bernardo missed one, but Patrick called it several weeks ago. I mean, I agree with him. When De Bruyne is on, good luck.
It's over.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Because people think, and I can see it, people think Haaland is the best player. He's not. Kevin De Bruyne is the best player on that team.
Glue. Yeah.
There's not
the best player on the team.
Look, y'all have a team of rock stars, of absolute superstars. But for me, it's not even a discussion. There's not even a question. Like, you can't. There's no one. If how many assists does De Bruyne have this season? To Haaland specifically. Like, Haaland wouldn't have half the goals if De Bruyne's not in the team.
Think about the complaints I've had when we watch games before, and the question was, does Haaland fit in City? Those games where they questioned if Haaland fit in City, who was not playing?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. This one was just like, I tried so hard. Go back and look at last week's videos. I'm trying to manifest it bring it into reality. City are gonna overlook Southampton. James Ward-Prowse is gonna score. They did overlook Southampton, and they still destroyed them. Oh, City they never even got out of second gear, and they put and how many goals have y'all scored in the last 4 or 5 games? You've hit 30 goals in 5 games or something stupid like that.
It's something like that. I think they won their last 8 or something like that. I think it's the last 8 something.
Oh,
all I know is Haaland has 30 league goals now.
Here's a stat for you. 10 of those. Well, no, it wasn't league goals, but 10 goals in 3 games.
When dude's firing, he's firing. I mean, it's a cheat code.
Ridiculous.
Like you said, it's a cheat code.
The funny thing about that is we've all questioned Pep and say, hey, what Pep is doing. The internet questions Pep, but this man literally threw away Cancelo, went through a rough patch, saw the team get all kinds of allegations of whatever, and
drama.
And there was all kind. He dropped Kyle Walker, he dropped Kevin De Bruyne, he dropped Phil Foden, and look at where they are now. He clearly knows what he's doing.
I'll say this: if City win the league, Even if y'all don't win the Champions League, and
Maybe aren't
personally,
winning the Champions League.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that in just a minute. But if
know.
firstly, look at who's left in the FA Cup. City are playing Sheffield.
That matters.
Sheffield in the
You
semifinals.
can play the U21s against Sheffield, bro.
That matters, sir. We take everybody seriously.
You're gonna treat it like the You're gonna treat it like the Olympics.
I
Stop.
know you're gonna take them seriously and win 5-0. What I'm saying is you're a shoe-in for the FA Cup final, where you're gonna play either United or Brighton, which personally I'm a Brighton fan, and I think
I'm
that
not.
I think that they are a decent team, and I think they have a shot at running up the table, in maybe scraping fourth place, fifth place. Are they going to beat City in the FA Cup final? Not a chance. And so if City win this league, if City win the Premier League, you just got to take your hat off to Pep for just the most incredible, like, you've been chasing all season long. You've had all kinds of BS coming down the pipe. Your grass is too long for 17 years or whatever it is. Cancelo tried to fight Pep in practice, and yet y'all are still just relentless.
Yep.
Absolutely
Well-oiled machine.
stars. I mean, it's dumb. And for me, it's Pep Guardiola he's cementing himself as one of the greatest managers of all time. And if
he
y'all
makes
win
this
this
run,
Champions League,
it's
I'll win this Champions League.
it doesn't leave much for discussion. Well, other than like Sir Alex, maybe.
I'm not saying best of all time. I'm not saying
Right.
best.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm saying he has
Best in the.
as one of the greats that
Yeah.
we've gotten to see, and
I mean, he'll be the best. Undoubtedly, he'll probably be one of the best still coaching.
I mean,
He'll
his
be the best active manager in football right now if he wins this Champions League.
statistics alone, but it's just the nature of this season that is just so impressive how good City have been, how good they are playing right now. And I think that's a perfect segue into Tuesday. Home match.
I cannot wait.
This
I cannot wait.
I'm almost as excited for this game as I am for the Arsenal City game, because I had a heated debate with Brian, like a long 30-minute long debate with Brian, because he supposes that Bayern are about to destroy. He said over two legs. His prediction is 5-1 Bayern over two legs.
Not destroy. Not destroy.
That's what he said.
They're not going to destroy. Tuchel's going to play them tactically.
Let's not forget
they're going to
United.
end this. I know, but they're going to end this 2-1. It's going to be tight. It's not going to be open. It's not going to be wide goals open.
I disagree. I think it's going to be a shootout.
I think 4-2 will be the aggregate for City.
Aggregate. I think it's going to be tight.
I think it's going to be a shootout. I can't wait, man. I'm pumped.
Well, in Pep Guardiola's press conference today, they asked him what he thought the issue was, and he said, "Well, last year we scored 4 goals. The year before we scored 6. The year before that we scored 5. Scoring goals is not our problem." That's what he said. He said scoring goals is not, and you got to think they didn't have a striker for one of those, and it's not scoring the goals. And this is where you can find the chink in the armor of mentality for City. And this is where the purchase of Haaland, literally, you will see if it was worth it, because he was literally what they were missing. If they go in this, and I have all the respect for Bayern, specifically for Thomas Tuchel, because he's a fantastic manager, and Pep has acknowledged he's a good manager. He acknowledged the Chelsea game. He's like, I look back at the Chelsea.
Good record against Pep.
He's got a great record against Pep.
Yeah, and he said, hey, he looked back at the Chelsea game. He said, you know what? They played a really good game against us. Respect to him. And you give Pep credit for that. He didn't take a shot at him because he knows he's a good manager. There's no shot to be taken. They said, well, hey, what are you going to do against the speed of their wingers? Because Sané will be one and Mane will be the other one, right?
Mane, baby.
And and so City, they don't really have recognized fullbacks outside of Walker. And he
I mean,
said, well,
don't
maybe.
forget Serge Gnabry and Kingsley Coman.
I was about to Serge Gnabry.
And all that's
is
fine.
bad,
All that's
bro.
fine.
Oh, they have Kingsley too.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
You can't play all of them. So,
Beasters, baby. Actually, no, he'll pull a Liverpool.
Try.
He's going to start 6 forwards.
Ask Liverpool. Ask Liverpool. They had
Yeah.
5 forwards at the
5 forwards.
and the thing is, Pep was like, well, maybe Kyle Walker will start. I don't know. Because, he plays 4 fullbacks. And you think about it, and they're like, well, is he going to run that system where he inverts his fullbacks for this? And you don't know. You don't know. But you see clearly they found their success in that. They clearly know how to play forward to back. So it's a matter of, do they try to possess the ball? It is Bayern. So can you really do that? Right? And I think they can. But the question is that Tuchel said they said, if you try to man mark a guy, it messes up the rest of your team. He literally said what you guys said. And he said, so we're not going to man mark Haaland. That's what he said. He said, we're not going to man mark Haaland, which if anybody's paying attention knows who he's going to man mark. De Bruyne. That's it. That's the guy you got to get out the game. You get him out of the game and you change the game.
It's the old basketball adage. You got to stop the feed. It's not the dude you got to stop.
Right.
You got to stop the supply. You got to cut the supply off, because if you choke, that's how you're going to beat him. You choke out his reception.
Now here's where this becomes interesting, because if they do that, fine. Haaland is still going to make his runs. That Foden's not going to start because he's sick.
What are you doing on a corner?
So, but here's what's going to happen. That people, even though I've been critical of him, and X, you mentioned it, Grealish is going to be huge in this game.
Has to be.
This is a
huge
Grealish
battle.
game.
He's got a
This is
huge
literally
battle
gonna
coming
be
up for
a
him.
Grealish game.
Dude, Davies is no joke. Yeah. Oh, and Cancelo. Yeah, Davies and Cancelo on the outside backs for these guys, bro. It's huge.
So Grealish already know. Grealish knows this is his game, and he couldn't be in better form than he is right now. Because in the last 4 games, he's had a golden assist. In the last 4 games. I mean, and even though I hate the fact that he doesn't cross the ball, even though he did do it once, and he crosses it on the ground, what he does is he attacks. And so I don't have a problem with that. Because if that's what happens, no one really overlaps him. But what that will give a chance for is for De Bruyne to go out there. And if you go ahead and pull whoever's marking and let him drag him out there and leave the middle of the park open.
It'll be Kimmich or Goretzka.
And pull him out the middle. That's fine. We don't have a problem with that, because once you pull him out the middle, you don't think you'll put Alvarez in there to play like a 10? And Alvarez clearly can distribute the ball and move around, and he's actually more scary than Haaland, because you don't know what he's going to do. And so I have all the respect in the world for Bayern. But for the game, I agree with you guys. I think it's going to be open. I think they're gonna play, and they're gonna be like, well, we could try to stop them, or we're gonna play our way, and their way works. And the thing is, they got to get as many goals as they possibly can at home before they go there.
I think if Stones plays the right back inverted thing, I think the combo of Stones and Rodri can shut Musiala down. Musiala will be their 10, and it'll be, I mean, probably Thomas Muller. It'll probably Mane, Muller, Sane. Musiala, Kimmich, and Goretzka will be their front 6, if I had to guess. And while that is deadly, I think Rodri and Stones can do a job on Musiala. If, like you say, Lewis, if he decides to play that way. What do you think, Patrick?
No, I think that I think Pep's experience losing to Tuchel will help in this situation. I think that I really think tomorrow is going to be like a 2-2, because both are going to go for it. But I think that since they're going to have to go back to City for the second leg.
Oh, it's in Manchester tomorrow.
It's in. Okay, so both of them are still going to go for it. And I mean, playing at Bayern is a totally different animal, and we'll discuss that, of course, in 2 weeks or whatever it is. But I think that City can control the midfield, and if they can do that, they'll give Bayern some problems. The one thing that I kind of keep going back to is when Bayern played PSG, and PSG's midfield is nothing like City's, not even close. Especially with Messi needing someone to cover for him pretty much the whole game.
The whole time.
The whole time. I felt like that Bayern struggled a good bit in the first leg specifically. Second leg, they
made him.
Huh?
I didn't think Paris gave anything in that tie.
No.
I'm saying in general, I thought Bayern struggled in terms of playing to the level that I fully expected them to, and it started in the midfield. But in the second leg, they really started to turn it on. That's what I'm saying. So it'll be interesting to see how much Bayern is trying to fill out City to begin with, because that's what it felt like in the first leg with PSG. It was kind of like a filling out game. Yes, Bayern got it. With the
first leg was in Paris as well.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of my point with them being in City. I think that there will be some filling out, and it'll be interesting to see how aggressive Tuchel is in attack. Because I've always felt that Tuchel was more of a defensive manager. I know that he's got totally different talent than Chelsea in terms of the attack itself. But I'm interested to see, with his experience playing City, playing Pep, how aggressive is he in this first leg? Does he kind of fill them out, or does he say, okay, I know what I'm doing, which he does, obviously. We can make this attack and take this tie here than waiting to go back to Bayern. But I still think that City, this is the moment that City's been waiting for. And I think I just think that they've got the team built perfectly for this. So it's gonna take performance, specifically tomorrow from Bayern to have a chance to win this tie.
I'm pumped. I think this tie is easily the most exciting, even of the ones that are left, honestly. I mean, yeah, because if City advance, then the next craziest tie will be City and, sorry guys, Madrid.
Hey man.
And then City versus Napoli. It's all gonna be, you know.
No, it's written that Tuchel will see Lampard. He will have to play his Chelsea. Yes.
I know you're hopeful, man. I know you're hopeful, and we'll get to that.
It all depends on how Wednesday goes, truly, on how, if we can have a good show, we'll get to it.
Yeah. Y'all are going to Spain.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
But Lamps knows the Mal method, man. You just nil it until you can't nil it no more.
Maybe. But what do you think, Lewis? We don't really record the predictions, but you got a prediction for Tuesday, for tomorrow?
No, I don't, because in my mind, I'm thinking a 2-1, but I really don't know, because I don't really know how he's going to set up. And because I don't know how he's going to set up, he made a comment in the press conference where he said, when I tinker and we lose, I don't know what I'm doing. When I tinker and we win, I'm a genius.
Genius, yeah.
And he tinkers all the time. He does it all the time.
So what would you do?
He's going to tinker because Bayern is different than anything they faced in the Premier League.
That's fair. Yeah.
And so they can't run. They could run the same thing, but they could get run over playing that way. And the goal is to win the game. That's what I was it Herm Edwards, whoever said it. You play to win the game. You're not out here to just, get a draw. That
look good. Yeah.
That's not what you want. You want to win. So I'm going to win.
One thing I wanted to bring up, and talking about Pep as well, if you think about it, in the Champions League final against Chelsea with City, he took out Fernandinho in the midfield, and Chelsea owned the midfield. What does he do tomorrow? Does he make one of those weird decisions that you just don't seem to understand? Doesn't really make sense on paper, or does he go with one of the millions of tactics that he's used this year?
I think he goes with the normal, because I think Gundogan will play. It'll be Rodri, Gundogan, and De Bruyne in the middle. I think Bernardo play. even I want to say Bernardo's going to play, but Mahrez has been in some great form.
It's gotta
And
be.
so I'm like, if I don't see what you change. You play Grealish on one side, Mahrez on the other side, Haaland in between them. You keep the same three in the midfield. The only question would be, what are you playing in the back? But I mean, I'm playing Ake because he's solid. I'm
You
playing
can't-
Diaz because he's solid. I'm playing Stones because he's solid. So the only place left is, do you play Akanji or do you play Walker?
Well, that's the question, right? And that is going to be what denotes his philosophy for me. When we see that lineup, if it's Kyle Walker, he's afraid of the speed. He's gonna be worried about Mane
100%.
and Sane. If he plays John Stones as right back, and see, here's what I would do: drop Akanji. The only person that you can make any kind of noise against in Southampton game was Akanji.
Mhm.
So if you drop Akanji for Stones and play Kyle Walker on the right back, I think that's a good combo. I think that's what I would do. I think that's a good because Stones is undroppable, man. How do you not play Stones?
But it's weird because you kind of want to play Akanji because he's familiar with the Bundesliga. That's the other reason you play Gundogan, because they're familiar with the style of play.
Gundogan's gonna get the nod.
And so then you're like, well, where does Silva play? Because then there's the noise about Laporte. I mean, Laporte's a great center back, but I mean, where does he go? Because you're like, okay, do you need another left-footed guy in there? And so you're wondering. And so I agree with you, Jake. I don't know. I think he's going to lean towards Walker just to be smart. I think he plays Walker. I think Walker always rises to it on these games. Like, he loves these games. He rises to it. So I think he plays Walker, and I think Stones will. I think he'll have Walker come in to play that third center half and let Stones drift to play next to Rodri and go from there.
Really? That's not what I would expect.
I think he's going to do that because I think he'll have the two guys as two pivots. And because I just think Stones has been so good playing there.
I was gonna say the last two games they've done that, and Stones has been spectacular.
I think he's going to do it again.
So actually, that does make sense because when you look at the way teams invert this season, and I'm gonna cite Arsenal. When Zinchenko inverts in, people attack Gabriel on the outside, which, sure, he's been great too. But that's what happens. Gabriel ends up playing against wingers. It was Gabriel Sala all day against Liverpool. And so if Stones is the one inverting, Walker will be up against one of the wingers, which is what you want.
That makes sense, yeah.
Mane, I suppose it'll be.
And the thing is, Walker's familiar with both of them. He's familiar with Sane, and he's familiar with Mane. It would make sense to play him.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, are you just hopeful, or do you want to give us a bold prediction?
No, I think it's 2-1. Now I mean, I'd be crazy not to pick for my team, so I think City wins 2-1. But I think Bayern is good enough where they'll for sure give a challenge, but I think City win the game. And I think the reason they win is because they know they have to win. Right. Because going to the Allianz is a different bear, man. And you got to go up, and they already know what it's like to go up, so they know even going there up doesn't mean anything.
So there's no pressure in the Premier League, like we said. Here's the pressure. This is all the pressure of your entire season is on Tuesday, is on tomorrow night. And if you think that Pep Guardiola and the boys are going to handle that pressure, smash up the likes, get the likes up for a City victory over the Farmers. Hopefully we're not the Farmers. Get the subscription on, get the notification bell on. We got plenty more coming at you.